Hello and welcome. In today's class, we'll be discussing the concept of pass-by value and pass-by reference in Java. So to understand the concept of pass-by value and pass-by reference, we must first understand the meaning of parameters and arguments in a function. Parameters refers to the list of variables in a method declaration. So here is a function square, and we are passing a value x to this function and returning the square of x. Now this x is a parameter for this function square. You can have multiple parameters also, but in this example, we have only one parameter x. So whenever you are defining the function, and at that time when you are declaring these variables, these are known as parameters. On the other hand, arguments are the actual values that are passed when the method is invoked. So for example, here, when we are calling the function square that we created in the previous slide, we are passing the actual value as 5. So 5 is an argument here. So always remember, when it's function declaration, we call those variables as parameters, but when we are calling those functions, we call those variables as arguments. Pass by value. Primitive data type arguments are passed into methods by value. So there are 8 primitive data types in Java: byte, boolean, short, char, int, long, float, and double. Whenever you are passing values of these data types to a function, for example, here I have passed 2 integers, a and b. So both are of type int. Int is a primitive data type, and that's why Java says that, okay, because primitive data type values are passed, this is pass by value. So for now, you just need to note down this much, that whenever primitive data type values are passed, pass by value takes place. Later, with the help of a program, we'll try to understand exactly what's happening here when pass by value is taking place. Pass by reference, when you are passing values of non-primitive data types or reference data type. For example, here we are passing an array. So an array is not a primitive data type, even though the data type is int, but this is not a simple variable. This is an array variable. This is an array object. Or you can say this is a variable that is pointing to an array object. Here also we are assuming that this array has 2 blocks. So we are interchanging the values of the first block and the second block. Again, with the help of a program, we'll try to understand how pass by reference takes place and what happens when we implement pass by reference. But for now, just note down this much, that when you are passing primitive data type values, pass by value takes place, and when you are passing non-primitive data types to a function, pass by reference takes place. So now let's write down a program to understand these concepts in detail. So here is a program that demonstrates the concept of pass by value. So what we have done here, we have taken a main function. Inside main, we are taking 2 variables, a and b, both of type integer, and we are printing the original values of a and b. So a should display as 4, b should display as 5. Next, we are calling the swap function. That means when swap function is called, we are passing these 2 arguments, a and b. And here we have defined the swap function. It is taking 2 parameters. So a's value will go to this a, whereas b's value will go to this b when this swap function is called. But what's important to understand over here is that original a and b are not passed to this function because it's called by value. And I've already explained when we have call by value. Call by value takes place whenever you are passing values of primitive data types. So, original values are not passed to the function. Instead, a copy of these variables are made and the copies are sent to these parameters. As a result, what happens is, whatever changes you do in these parameters, like we are swapping the values of A and B. So suppose if A is 4, B is 5, so I expect A to become 5, B to become 4. So that happens only to the copy. As a result, the changes are not reflected in the original variables. So after calling the swap function, when we print the values of A and B again, we see that there is no change in the values of A and B. A remains as 4, B remains as 5. Let's try to run the program. So you can see the original values of A and B are 4 and 5, and after swapping, the values still remain unchanged. They are 4 and 5. Now let's try to understand the concept of pass by reference. So here I have taken a non-primitive data type, which is an array, because this is an object. So this is considered as a non-primitive data type. So I have two values in this array, 4 and 5. I print the first block and the second block, I should get 4 and 5. Then I'm passing this array to the function swap. Now because this is passed by reference, what happens is a copy of this array is not sent. The original array is sent to the function. As a result, whatever changes you make, those changes are reflected back. So here I'm swapping the values of the two blocks, and when I return back and after swapping, I again try to print the values of the first block and the second block. This time I'll be able to see the difference. So now the first block should display 5 and the second block should display 4. Let's try to check the output. So you can see the difference, first value and the second value, 4 and 5, but after swapping, it has changed to 5 and 4. So this is the concept of pass by value and pass by reference. I hope you have understood this concept well. If you still have any questions, you can always get in touch with me through comments. See you in the next class soon. Thanks for watching.